Hello and welcome back to Stationeers. I'm Mick, and today we're actually going to build a furnace. Now, we've had a couple of goes at it. We've just got our magic math that tells us what temperature we're going to get out of this. So this time we're going to actually build the furnace. So first up, a bit of a cleanup of what we got here. I want to keep the code. Yeah, probably some displays would be handy. So I'll set up a furnace. Now we're going to have a system that's about as simple as you can get with our furnace, because we've got our fuel system here. So let's have a clean up of this and we'll get going. Okay, so we shall want a furnace. You can go into there. Easy. Now, in the back of that one, we have our input and our output. Through the input, we shall want two connectors. So we shall want a connector coming in from our tank here. There we go. And we just want one length of pipe there. So as we use this thing here, we shall turn our input all the way up, other way up. Rightio. So that one will always be draining everything that's in that pipe every game tick. Now our output is controlled by the output dial on here, so we don't need anything there. We can drop that straight into the tank. And what's coming out of our tank here, we shall need to put a pump into to actually measure how much goes into here. So I shall change that around. Go that way. Right. Around, and I shall want a volume pump into that one there. Nope. There we go. Won't be able to see it from the front, but anyway. Rightio, so we have a volume pump. You just wire up to the main set of circuits, and on the other side we shall put a fuel mixer. We could probably use hydrogen and oxygen, that'll do us. So we want a mixer, which shall be, that's our output there. That'll do nicely. And we don't need these ones. Oh, the hydrogen and oxygen I do want though. Aha! So I'll keep them. Right. So I shall set them up. Pipes. Yo. Doot and doot. Right. There we go. So now I just need to paint that, because it won't work if it's not painted properly. Yep. No good, and you as a mixer don't need to be connected anymore. Right, so that's all we've got. From our power supply, we have our furnace, we have our mixer, we have our volume pump for our waste gas. Now this one should be colder than what we need, so because it's got radiators on, it's been sitting here for a while, it should be pretty cold, 2 degrees. Yeah, that qualifies as pretty cold. Now all we've got to do is know what temperature we want, know what pressure we want. We should just be able to suck in enough cold gas so that when it's heated up it will be the right pressure, and then just add some fuel to it and get heated up, and we should be at what we want. Simple, right? So we know once we've added gas, we know how much fuel we'll have to add to it. So that should be pretty simple from there. So we shall start, we'll need to wait a while. We'll just use the code at the moment to tell it what temperature and pressure we want. So I might just put up a couple of consoles. And, not you, go away. That one. Gas. And a hash. You. Excellent. Furnace temperature. Furnace. Oh, try again. And you are furnace pressure. Nice. There we go. Now, on we should be running. Nice. Now, so we shall have to set our code to, we'll tell it. Say if we want to get it to, say, 1,000 degrees and 4 megapascals. Why not? So that is our code. I still have plenty of lines left. We should be fine. Now, so we've done all our maths in the other way previously, so we can probably go pretty light on that at the moment. Right, now, so we shall go in the start. So the first thing we shall do is our health and safety. So I shall load into R0 from the furnace the pressure. And I should probably best put in my furnace, hadn't I? Right, I shall have the filler pump, and the mixer. And let's keep our display too. Display D3. Right, so we'll load from the furnace our pressure. Shall set greater than. So if R0, set R0, if R0 is greater than 52 megapascals. Multiply R0 by 100 to set the output on full power. Save the furnace. Oh, come on, if you are NACE. Setting output. Yes. R0. So if it gets too much pressure in there, just put the output on as fast as you can. And jump to the start. No, don't do that. Right, so there's our health and safety. An important thing to do. Now, we shall want to set our pressure. So we shall define pressure at how about the P setting? At we say 4 megapascals. Define the temperature setting at 1000 Kelvin. Right. So now we don't have any sensor on the tank, so we don't know what's in the tank, but we only have one option, it's to bring it in, so we can just switch on the pump and see what comes in. Right, so we need to add enough filler gas in so it will heat up and get to 4 megapascals. Right, so how are we going to do that? Now we've done that before in my original furnace design. So given PV equals nRT is a gas equation there, we will be varying our pressure and our temperature. So in a system where the number of moles and the volume are constant, the pressure divided by the temperature will be constant in all systems there. So the current pressure divided by the current temperature multiplied by our desired temperature will give us the pressure that it will heat up to. So that's what we want to calculate. So we'll need to have some gas in there. So let's not worry about that just yet. Let's have a look at it. So we load into R0 from the furnace. Oh, come on. Give me a break. The pressure. Load into R1 from the furnace, the temperature. So we shall divide the pressure. So R0 will equal the pressure divided by the temperature. R1 is the temperature. And then we shall multiply it by the temperature setting. So R0 equals whatever that is times the T temperature setting. So that will tell us whatever that's going to heat up to. So we shall say set less than. So if that value that it's going to heat up to is less than that, switch on the filler pump because it still needs to have more in there. So set less than. So set R0. If R0 is less than the pressure setting, save filler pump on R0. Right, so it's that simple. Right, so if there is nothing in there, so we shall say divide R0, divide by R1. So R1 can't be 0. So now we shall say maximum R1, very small number, 1. Right, so the pressure is very small, temperature, say is 1. That'll give you a very small number. We should be right. And then just jump to the start from there. Let's not worry about the rest of the code yet. Export. Now, better do that. Export. Now, I shall need, yes, you'll give me an error, because I need to put in my furnace, which is U, our filler pump, which is the volume pump, our mixer, which is the gas mixer. There it is. Our display. One of them. Display 2. That's just that one there, I think. Right, so reset you, switch you on. You're doing nothing because I haven't switched you on. You should have switched on. What happened? Right, load the pressure, which is 0. Up. What am I doing? R1. Got that one back to front. Already stuffed it up. Okay, we switched on. It's saying that 1 megapascal at 290 Kelvin will be enough. Well, we'll see. So the next thing we're going to do now is switch on the fuel pump. So after we've added the gas in, then we need to go through all of this crap that we made last time. And all the ones where we've got tank, we now want to change to furnace. You, do. Tank. And we're good. Right. So that is loading the temperature. I don't want that on there. Yep, you can go. Now that is calculating what that will heat up to once all the fuel is burnt. Well, at the moment there's no fuel in there, so we just want to know what it's going to heat up to. So just called display. That's figuring out what it's going to heat up to. If I export that, it's going to heat up to 290 degrees Kelvin, which it already is. So that's looking pretty good. Is there a little bit in there still doing its thing? Oh, it's cooling down, right, it's losing some heat. Yep, fair enough. That's all right. So now when we come down here, the setting that we've got, R0, if that is less than our target setting, we're just going to switch on the fuel pump. And that should be it. So we have figured out a total energy, so we shall set less than. So if R0, set R0 if the calculated temperature is less than temperature setting, and save to the mixer on R0. Confirm, I better set my fuel mixer. We have input as hydrogen, so we shall want 60 on hydrogen. 67 there, input 2 is oxygen, 33, that'll do us. Whee! So now I should just be able to export that, and I'd probably better put an igniter on there too, hadn't I? That might be a good idea. So now we are going for, was it 1,000 Kelvin? And 4 megapascals. Okay, we've overcooked the megapascals. Okay, right, so we're slowing down our combustion now and we're losing heat to the atmosphere. So it's trying to hit the temperature exactly. And that means it's going to cool down before it actually gets there, so it's going to keep on dumping in more and more fuel each time it cools down. So I'm going to have to add a little bit of a fudge factor to it to get that. So our temperature setting is going to have to be set a little bit too high. So whether I should just add, probably best to be add a percentage, because the hotter that gets, the faster it's going to cool down. So we were going for 1,000 degrees and we have got it up to 970. So if we say maybe aim for 1100, that should get us there pretty quickly. So if we add for an extra 10% on the temperature, right, so whatever our temperature setting is, we shall multiply, we'll say R2 equals temperature setting times 1.1. So we put 10% onto it and change U to R1. And so that should now heat up further. Oop, we've got our temperature, but we're way over on pressure now because all the fuel is adding extra gas. That'll be because we are, okay, you can switch off. Make sure they're switched off. They're good, right. Because we pressurized it up first and then started adding gas in, it's gone and added too much gas all cold. So normally if we run it so as it's adding gas and fuel at the same time, it should be counting the extra gas produced by the burning fuel as it pumps in more. So we'll give it another go and see if we can get closer to 4 megapascals on that one. I mean, our pressure doesn't have to be perfect, so it's a yeah, well, I've kind of called it a precision furnace, but I'm kind of not using any fine tuning on the volume pump, and that doesn't have any fine tuning at all. So it's precise and it knows what it wants to do. It's just rubbish at doing it. Or I could just put a controller on the output to drop the pressure once it gets too high. Yeah, there we go. So switch you on. And away we go. I've still got to put the igniter on. So we're after 4 megapascals. Oh, we've already passed that. Okay. That's not through trying. And there's our 1000 degrees. So it's got up to 6 megapascals. Right. So now that could be changed by just slowing down the volume. Well, I suppose you really need to put something on the tank there, because we just oh, stupid freaking screwdriver. Because this thing's 6 megapascals, so when I'm sucking anything from the volume pump, it's sucking it in at pretty high pressure. And sort of a rather large quantity, so it does fill up the advanced furnace, which has a very small internal volume and will reach pressure very quickly. So I could put a sensor on the tank and then slow that down accordingly, or I can just say that's good enough. Yeah, I could probably just put a max pressure on the other one, couldn't I? Yep. You're all switched off, we're good. Now, so if oops, not that one. I shall define max pressure at 5,000. I suppose I can just do that at the start too, can't I? If you're greater than max pressure from export setting output, is that the right one on there? XP 5000. Oh, I've switched it off. What am I doing? That'll work better. Now it's venting. Right. Okay, that's a fairly serious venting going on there. There we go. We've settled between 4 and 5 megapascal, 1000 degrees. Right, so it's pretty agricultural, but it gets there. Yep. So I suppose the next thing to do is just to put something on here to flip the switch as we're going. So I can say down the bottom here, I can sort of load into R0 from the furnace. It's recipe hash. Yes. So set not equal to 0. So if R0 is not equal to 0, it means it has made something. True. Save furnace open R0. Confirm. Export U. And we're good. Nice. So now I guess we can put a control system on that as fancy as you like to get it to detect a certain type of ore or a certain type of ingot. I do have control systems that I've used on my other furnaces there, so that would just be a dial and a console, and that'll do us, because that can then tell us what pressure and temperature we need, and we should be good. So I might give that a go. Right, now for our controller there, I'm just going to load in another program I've got here, which is my from our automatic advanced furnace is our stack writer. So we overwrite that. Whoop, and there it is. So this is just a heap of push commands that will just push all of these ingot recipes into the stack, where I can come back later and get them all out. And I have forgotten to adjust one of them there. Oh well. So if I export you into the IC housing, oop, that should run you. You should do nothing. Then if I grab the extended stack writer as well, why not? Overwrite that. This is just a few more of them in there. So I confirm that, export that. That will look like it does nothing yet again. Now we're done with you. Now I can write this code back over the top of it. Export you into there, and there you should be doing stuff again. You are. Good. Oh, that'd be cool. Oh, must have been left pumping out. Oh well. I'll be running out of fuel soon. Probably running it the way I'm going. Yeah. So I might just switch you off for the minute. Go away. You're off. You're off. We're good. Now, so now I shall need alias the dial to D4. And how am I going for code? Yeah, still got lots of code. We're good. Now, so we shall want, so I can get rid of these now. And we shall alias. I'm going to run out of variables now. Max pressure. Yes, max pressure to 4. Yes, min pressure to 5. our max temp to R6 and there's min temp to R7. Okay, just about used all of them. I think I want a recipe hash too, don't I? Alias recipe is what have we got left? R14. Would have been nice to do them all in order, but anyway. Okay. Right, so we shall need that at the start. We shall load into R0 from the dial the setting. Now the number we get from there is we have to convert into something we can read from the stack. So we wrote into the stack a nine element two-dimensional array, or a 9-element array. So from the dial and the reading we need to add 1 to the dial, R0, R0, 1, and then multiply it by 9 because it's a 9-element array. Right, confirm. We'll have a look at you again because we had the hash, min max, min temp, max temp, pressure, rightio. So they're the ones we want there. The ingredients we're not worried about, they're just there, but we're not going to read them. So we shall want to go to, so when we get that one there, it'll be here. So we want to count back 1, 2, 3, 4. So we shall subtract 4 from it and then pop those values out. Right, that should get us where we want to be. Now, we need to subtract, I suppose I could just do that straight into the stack pointer, couldn't I? Stack pointer. Subtract stack pointer, subtract 4. Now we just pop them all out in the reverse order, which was maximum, minimum, maximum, minimum. Cool. So now I can pop max pressure, pop min pressure, pop max temp, pop min temp, and pop a recipe. Wow. Right, so that's loaded in all the values from there that we have. So I shall save to the DB housing, setting the recipe. Confirm. If I export that, I don't have a dial. Nothing switched on, we're good. We want to know what the dial is. Display dial. I'll switch you off. Dial, there we go. Should probably give our dial a few extra doodads as well. Line 32. Oh, that's, yes, right. Max pressure. Oops. That's mintemp. Copy. Minimum temperature will be our setting, and our minimum pressure will be what we're going for there. Right. Do we have any others that I need to change? Okay. Minimum temperature. And that looks like it's all right. Right. Export you now. We're happy. Right. What was Inconel? Oh, that could be bad. I still forgot to put the igniter on there, didn't I? What did I want for Inconel? 600K, 23.5 to 24. Oh, okay. It's doing it. So I need to adjust my output as well. So our recipe hash set equal set R0 if the recipe hash equals the recipe. Confirm. Export. Right, so I need 2 gold, steel, nickel. That'll do. You. And you. Oh, there we go. Nice. So it had a few goes at it, but it eventually got there. It's probably not very efficient. Probably because we chose one there that had a very narrow temperature range. So let's go for stellite. That's a high temperature. Not a massive pressure, but we'll see if it actually gets there. Now that one was stellite. Silver, cobalt, silicon. Does it have a maximum? Oh, 20 is the maximum, right, so it keeps just bumping on 20. Now it's predicting we're going to get enough heat there, he's got to wait for it to burn. So you must have a heap of unburnt fuel in there. Heaps of volatiles, a bit of oxygen. Yep. Oh, is 10% going to be enough on the heat there? It's losing too much to the atmosphere. No, it's still going up. We need to slowly climbing. It does think it's going to get a very good year, 1985. But I can put in some shoots. Oh, you're still not going up in a hurry. So, okay, I might want to add a bit more of a fudge to the temperature there, so it does go up a bit quicker. But that'll all just be in the tuning of it. Okay, so how about we add 20% to that then? Export. Okay, more fuel is added. Let's have another go at it. Now I might just add to the start of this one here a bit more of our health and safety. So we check our pressure at the start. I shall load into R0 from the furnace the temperature, and we shall set less than, if the temperature is less than, I don't know, 400 degrees, we shall say furnace activate R0. So if it's cold, ignite it. Export U. And away we go. So it has ignited that. Probably could slow down the volume pump so it's not blowing in gas quite as fast as it does. Gives a little bit more time for the fuel to be pumped in. But are we now going to get more than 2000 degrees? Export. It is trying to get to 220, it just can't. That's not good. She's just dropping short. Okay, I'm sure it'll work fine with nitrous. What the hell? It got it. Why did that change anything? Now we'll try again with nitrous. Alright, get rid of that shit. Yep, it was silver and cobalt, wasn't it? Cobalt and silver, still not enough. There we go. Right. That's what you want. Right, now will you get past 2000 degrees? Yeah, now you're doing it. Okay, the high temperature stuff works a lot better with nitrous. Surprise, surprise. Okay, so I might also add a couple of extra things onto here. Down the bottom where we switch on our mixer. Right, so R1 is whether or not we want to switch it on. So I should load slot into R1 from the furnace slot 0, which should be the input slot, I think. QNTH quantity. So if, and I shall load into R2 furnace reagents. So I'll say if there's stuff in the input chute or stuff in the furnace, we can switch it on. If there's nothing in there and nothing in there, don't switch it on. So I'll have to say and on both of those two, or. If there's something in there or something in there, it'll be or. So I shall say or R1 is R1 and R2. So if they're true, we can switch it on. So it'll be an and R0 is R0 and R1. Right. So if we need to switch it on, and there's actually a reason to switch it on, you can switch it on. Right. So now we see the temperature is dropping because there's nothing in there. The furnace is cooling down. It's not switching on the fuel. Nice. What else did we have? Astroloy. There's one we all know and love. That one is steel, copper. Where do we steel go? That is steel, and copper. That's not enough. That was the start. Right. So now it is cooling down. 1260 is the target, but it's cooling down because there is nothing in there. As soon as I put that in there, it should start to heat up again. It does. Nice. Did I set a maximum pressure on this? That'll do. There's our astroloy. Okay. So it still needs a little bit of work. It's not doing the best at picking out the super high temperatures unless you've got the nitrous in there. I'll have to give it a bit of tune up and see if I can get around that. But that's it. We control our temperature, we control our fuel. We'll add it in once again. It relies on having the incoming waste gas colder than the alloy we want to make. So if we have high temperature in there and we want to make like a solder, well, it's only 4 degrees. Okay, well that would be cold enough. If we had a heap of hot stuff in there on like Venus, if you cool that down with just the radiators there, that's not going to get cold enough to make solder. So that will still be a problem. And once again, we've got no way of cooling it down. If I suddenly say I want to make solder, yep, there it is. You're just going to have to wait for it to cool down. So maybe I could get it, if it's too hot, I could probably say vent as well. Yeah, that'd work. And back at the top, we were saying if it is over max pressure, we're going to vent it. Or if it's over maximum temperature, we shall also vent it. Load into R1 from the furnace. Temperature, say set greater than let's set R1 if R1 is greater than maximum temperature. It'll be or either of them, or R0 is R0 and R1. So if it's over the max pressure or over the max temperature, you've got to vent it. Once we vent it, once we vent it out, once it gets below minimum pressure, it'll start adding more in, which should be cooler. If I export that, it should be venting, which it is. And once it gets below, I think 1 megapascal, I think it is for solder, it should start blowing in more cold gas, which will cool it down. Which it won't do because I haven't got anything in there. I shall need some iron and lead. Get rid of that. One lead. Pity lead. There we go. It's gotten too cold. Oh, it's too hot. Oh, it's probably too hot in the tank now, is it? Because I just vented everything that was really hot. Yeah, too hot in there. It is trying. It'll get there now. Which is a problem I just said we were going to have with this one. For solar 520 to 550. Gotcha. Oop. Now it'll work. That's right, because my stack writer code there had the furnaces set, temperature set for solder at reasonably high, so you could still make it on Vulkan just from the ambient temperatures. So yeah, I might need to adjust that too. It's struggling. We want 25 to 30, no, 950 to 1K, okay. Okay, so 10% is going to be too much on that, isn't it? Oh, not you, that one. 950, 25 to 30. Oh, it's way down on pressure. Right, it keeps on getting over the max temperature and vents it out, so it never gets the pressure. Ah, shit. Okay, that's an interesting one to have. How am I going to do that? Right, because the 10% on the extra pressure temperature is too much for it. Because this one has a very tight temperature. I've just added 10% onto the thing. That's got to go from somewhere between 950 to 1000. If I add 10% to that, I get over 1000. Although the fudge factor is good enough to get it there. Okay, so 10% might be the best thing. That wasn't meant to happen. That was just I say part of the fudge factor. That's all of them. We've made them all. Okay, it's managed it. Not the greatest on hydrogen, but it's working. I'll need to tweak it a little bit more, but mess around with the fudge factor on it, but it's working. So once we had that number there, the magic combustion calculation worked out, it was a pretty simple process to get it to do what we want it to do. So yeah, we'll call that a furnace design and say it's done. So till next time, happy building. See ya. Now that's how you refine stuff. Still got fuel. Oh yeah, baby. Yeah, one of the things that I forgot, I must be getting a bit slow, these things produce ore that is degassed. So if you put a heap of furnaces, they don't cool down. Look at that, 5 furnaces, and that's how quickly it is smelting stacks of 60. And it is slowly cooling down. That's just losses to the atmosphere. How much it gets done on one load of gas. Nice. 5 furnaces. Nice. That's still going. There we go. Yeah. So that is just, it's still going. 5 of them all lined up. And there goes all my ores.
Temperature low.
That's all that was.
Temperature low.
5 of them, and what the hell is going on here? Yeah, it's a bit messy, but it works.